Hi there, welcome back to the channel. This is Michael and you're watching Horror Gardener. Today we are doing a sci-fi book haul. So we're going to jump into some vintage sci-fi, some more modern stuff, and some of my favorite authors. So let's get into it. Okay, first up we have several issues of Isaac Asimov's science fiction magazine. I bought these mainly because it's got authors that I love, such as Harlan Ellison, Gene Wolfe, Kenneth Lee. I think there's a George R. R. Martin one as well. These have some of the best covers. This one has Ursula K. Le Guin. Look at that cover, just fantastic. The artwork from the 70s and early 80s for science fiction are just as good as the horror genre books from that same period. Just beautiful paintings all around. And you'll see that more of that evident coming up with these following Daw books that are going to be coming up next. First up is Maroon, Alistair 933 by Jack Vance. This one is about a man who's had his memory wiped and he's searching through thousands of planets to try and find out who he is. And it turns out he might be some sort of evil ruler. Next up is another Jack Vance book, The Languages of Pow. This is about an entire planet getting manipulated by a neighboring planet to adjust the way that their world sort of works and their genetic history. So this is going to be a very interesting read. Another Jack Vance book, The Narrow Land, which is a collection of short stories spanning from the 1940s up into the 1960s. This should be great to read to sort of see what how his evolution of his writing is over the years. And another Jack Vance book, To Live Forever. This one's about some sort of immortal that is hiding out after he's killed another mortal version of himself, and he meets a woman who may or may not also be immortal. So that should be good. Bestiary, edited by Jack Dan and Gardner Dozois. This is a collection of short stories with stories about mythical creatures like dragons, unicorns, the centaur, the griffin, the minotaur. This one I bought mainly because it's got an Ursula K. Le Guin story in it, which I love. But there's some other great authors in here that I look forward to checking out. All My Sins Remembered by Joe Haldeman. This is the same author who did The Forever War, which I'm constantly talking about. This one looks to be about an assassin who sort of deals with the grief of all the people he's killed over his lifetime. Again, look at this artwork on this cover. Just fantastic. I loved it. It's not a crotch shot. That's the faces you should be looking at. The Accidental Time Machine by Joe Haldeman. This one I'm really looking forward to reading. It's about sort of a schlubby dropout from MIT who accidentally makes a time machine that every time he presses the button, it goes 12 times longer into the future. So he can skip ahead a little bit into the future, but he's going to continually skip until eventually things get worse and worse for him. Joe Haldeman's Earthbound, which I believe is tied into his Marsbound novel, admittedly, which I don't know much about, even though I do own a copy of Marsbound. But this one looks like it's some sort of aliens destroying Earth and leaving them sort of in a barren wasteland in the far future. 4 Ways to Forgiveness by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is 4 novellas, all connected on this world. Like Ursula K. Le Guin, she is one of the best fantasy world builders I have ever read. She is fantastic. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. I was very happy to find two of Gene Wolfe's Long Sun series, the 2nd volume and the 4th book. This is a book about a generational starship that's sort of traveling through space towards a destination, and they are being energized by a long sun inside the middle of the ship called the Whorl. Then we got Altered Carbon by Richard Morgan. I have not read this book series before, but I have watched the TV series Altered Carbon, which is sort of a cyberpunk detective noir kind of story set in the future where people can upload their sort of soul into a disc and they can live forever by transferring this disc to new bodies. It is pretty fantastic. The Wind-Up Girl by Paolo Bacigalupi. This one I don't know anything about, but I have seen this name and this imagery of the artwork in lots and lots of different people's books on Goodreads, their lists. So I heard this is really good. Let me know if you've read this one, because I heard that it's fantastic and it looks great. Stanislaw Lem, Return from the Stars. This is the same author who wrote the fantastic Solaris. This one is about a astronaut who goes on a mission to outer space, and it was a 10-month mission, but he comes back and 100 years have passed on Earth, so he's trying to fit into society. The Twilight Zone. So this could qualify as horror, but a lot of the authors are science fiction authors in this. We've got Robert McCannon, Harlan Ellison, Arthur C. Clarke, Joe Haldeman, Richard Matheson. So some of the best names in science fiction writing for this series. This looks fantastic. I love the Twilight Zone series, so I look forward to reading some scary kind of sci-fi horror mashups from these authors. And lastly, I found Folk Tales of the British Isles, this is actually the folio edition by Folio Press. If you know Folio, these books are quite expensive and they are very well done. This is a beautiful book. So I'm going to show you some of the imagery from the inside of the book in just a moment. Okay, that's everything. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if which ones I should maybe read first, if there's any ones that I don't know that I haven't read. I'd very much like to hear what you guys think about these. So yeah, that's it. Have yourself a good weekend, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.